There are two really big players in the exhaust category of the WRX platform. The first one has a very good tone that a lot of people like with a very good sound level. The other one has very unique sound but an undesirable sound level in some situations. Quite a few years now, I've accumulated all my ideas to make something to line up right in the middle that I think everyone would love. And this is that journey of bringing that to life after many, many years of thinking about it. I met the spokesman of Magnaflow at SEMA last year. Let me take you back in time how I met Richard.
Magnaflow booth. The Magnaflow booth is like a big rectangle. And on the inside of the rectangle, there's like a kind of like a little like pit here. And in this pit, you can kind of like separate a little bit.
This is exactly where I met Richard, and I hoped one day maybe we could do something together. Went on with the rest of my day and had a great time that night with the boys. About a year later, we're at Magnaflow Tech Center with Richard.
When you kind of came back and said Subaru, right? I was like, well, okay, you know, it kind of threw me off for a bit, but I'm like, well, hold on.
I got in Sunday night at about 2 a.m. The next morning at about 8:39, I roll up and I got the whole crew in the research and development area at Magnaflow at the tech center looking at me like, all right, Cam, what do you want to do? I got kind of nervous. I'm used to working by myself, and this added some pressure that I wasn't expecting. I'm curious what's going through everyone's heads like when you...
It's our starting point, so we're acclimating ourselves to what it is that's inside and what the stock design had incorporated. Obviously, we're looking at another aftermarket exhaust, so why did they make the movements they did? Is it clearance? Is it motion? Is it drive shaft related? Do we have to worry about heat? Is there a vibration component? So really our first assessment is looking at what exactly is under the car to know what we're going to change and make sure that what we do actually complements the design. The next step obviously is then to kind of figure out what's the experience like. Material wise and those kinds of things are kind of an engineering decision. Sound quality, like how much muffling do we have to do? Is this sound level? Do we need to do more dampening, less dampening to get the volume right? And then we deal with tone. Assess how well does that exhaust fit into the mold. It actually fits fairly well, and it looks like there's some things we can do. The one thing we do want to improve upon is this contact point. The pipe shifted over more. We can actually bring everything up.
Going into this, I have no expectations, but I'm really worried that muscle car, deep tone, total stigma. Are we even gonna be able to get away from that? Because if we can't get away from that, we're not gonna be able to create what I have in mind, and you guys are gonna see this unfold and how we went about that.
We have built a brand and a culture, and with that we actually call it kind of our signature sound. People know when you say Nike Jordans, there's an image that pops up in your head, just like when you say Magnaflow, there's a certain tone that you imagine. But is the Jordan that's offered today anything at all like the original piece? And that's the transition we're making.
But are you good with where I'm going to split them? Straight? Tailpipe?
Okay. Yeah, that should be fine because it's only going to be a 3-bend and a 3-bend.
Yeah.
But Richard assured me before I drove out that we would be able to make something good, so I took his word for it. biggest thing with the Tomei, I feel like a lot of people like it, is because it looks so full. When you look at the car from the side, from the back, all that, the exhaust tip and the whole muffler, it just looks aesthetically pleasing. That was kind of my biggest worry going into this whole thing with Magnaflow, is going away from their stigma of having a standard dual or quad exit, and they're open to going this route with us, and I was worried about what our options going to be. And this carbon fiber tip, I feel like, is a good representation of Magnaflow. It has their new branding, the way they're moving forward with the company. This matches that. It's very modern, it's new, and I think this matches the aesthetic of my car and a lot of your guys' as well. So this is a very universal tip option. How big a diameter is this, Rich? Do you know?
4.5.
What is a deal breaker is, so over here, this is the quarter-way resonator. So Rich is going to take us over there and show us that. This is the rear muffler that is going to go right by the tip. So these three items are going to be right next to each other. Rich, can we carry these over there and show them?
Let's take a look.
We've got our quarter-way resonator, right?
Yep.
Up here in the corner. We're also going to have the muffler right by it. So now we're going to have three things close to each other and this tip. I think it's going to turn out for a maybe even more full looking setup. From the aesthetic reasoning, I'm really excited, because when you look at the back of a car and see three things going on, you're going to go, what's going on down there? I want to know about it, and is it awesome? I want to know. When you think of Magnaflow, you think of performance exhaust. That's around 30% of their business. The other 70 is all catalytic converters, replacements for all cars. One of the biggest things in the automotive market is people's cats going out on their car all the time. The catalytic converters filter the exhaust so that it lowers emissions into the atmosphere. That is required by law, so therefore there's this huge demand of catalytic converter replacement parts. This is where Magnaflow steps in and makes it as big as it is. And then they also have the performance side that us as car enthusiasts know all about and have known about for a very long time. I mean, you gotta remember, when you were a kid, you got Flowmaster, Magnaflow. What are you going with? Mostly, my era growing up, that was with trucks. First truck, Flowmaster, Magnaflow. Maybe you guys can relate. If not, that's kind of how the stigma was. With that being the largest part of the company, the manufacturing and all that is crazy. I'm gonna take you back and show you the whole process and what this looks like, because when you think of Magnaflow, you need to be thinking about this.
All of our shipping and receiving for all the business we do starts here. So we have about 250,000 square feet in this building. The shipping and receiving area, we have 7 lines, and as you can see, UPS, FedEx, Conway. We got a pick ticket. It comes off of the machines and drops here, and it literally goes out to UPS, FedEx, or whoever they have arrangements through. The biggest thing you'll notice, these are white boxes. There's no dust on them. That goes to show you that with all this inventory here, none of this stuff stays here very long. Everything that you see in these shelves and going forward is stuff that we turn every month. Product quantity wise, yeah, we have a lot of stuff in stock, and yes, we make it all in this building.
It's like IKEA.
The IKEA of mufflers. So this is where everything starts to look a little different. We're in full production, so the other half of the building, 120,000 square feet of it, is dedicated to production. So when you're talking about building catalytic converters, a lot has changed from building them in half shells. We're reducing the amount of welding required so that we have a part that's a better built part that fits more applications and is going to be less likely to leak. The more welds you have, the more chance you have of having a leak. Once we get the basic design, we wrap everything in a stainless wool. The stainless wool is what helps protect the basalt, but also gives us better distribution of the gases, so we get better sound acoustic dampening because we expose the entire area to the gases entering the muffler. One of the unique parts too is we tune every single muffler to the needs of the car, so we can punch our own perforation, how the pattern looks, how frequent the holes are, the size of the holes, and where they sit. You can see it doesn't have to be a regular part. We can make that for whatever muffler needs are for whatever application. So every single part of the muffler, from its most basic perforation pattern This is something that's uniquely tuned to every vehicle. About what, 3/4 of the way through and you haven't seen any welding happen yet. The person can set it all up, hit the burn button, turn around and go set up the next one. It works on that one and moves to the other side. One person can operate all 4 of them at the same time, and we can have 4 sets of welding happening while one person's operating. Here's one of our X pipes. So this starts off as 2 pieces. The operator will put in both pieces. The fixture locates it and it'll weld along the seams on both sides. And it'll actually flip or move so that the welds are always down so we get the best quality weld.
You just heard Richard mention a fixture. These fixtures are created so that you can have a consistent product. These hold metal pipes, mufflers, catalytic converters, attaching the parts without them being welded to each other, so that way they can have someone consistently weld a product and maintain fitment, as well as using these fixtures to put in these robots and have them weld them consistently and be able to manipulate them and move them around. It would take so much time to create these fixtures. I was blown away at this part and the amount of work that they've put in, and you can see the history all on the shelves and how long some of these have been around.
So some of the stuff might require like one little stitch weld. If we're only going to weld a bracket that has 1 inch of weld, it makes more sense just to have a person do it than set up an entire machine in a process. So this is where the small welding happens.
We saw the back. Now as far as the office side, you can see there's a lot of glass walls, open areas. This is to give it a small team feel, but it be a very large team overall. This is Richard's desk, and then we take a look around the outside, and then we're going to check out the showroom that mimics like O'Reilly Auto Parts, AutoZone, all the above, to make sure that their product looks the way they want to.
These look like the same shelves you're used to seeing at Napa, O'Reilly's, Pep Boys. We test how our product looks. We test the appeal that it has and the way the different boxes stack on shelves, how many boxes we can do it, just so that we know it's the right size packaging to protect the parts inside and also how it looks, you know.
Headed back over to the tech center. This is where they house their semi trucks. I had to show you guys this. Look how cool this thing is.
So once the 3D scan's done, we drag it in to our CAD program, create it into something called a step file. The bender bends it off of that step file. We cut it, and it's ready for the car.
The tech center and where we're at right now is a different building than the headquarters that you just saw. There are some fixtures that they're recently working on, but now we're heading over to the pipe bender in the tech center where the development happens. This is where we'll be starting the next phase as far as creating the WRX catback that everyone is all hands on deck working on.
First bend, it might be yellow, which means it's close, but it's not exact. It bends to 80 degrees, but because of the temperature of the room, the viscosity of the oil, it only bent to 78. So it's gonna go, okay, well, there's a 2-degree error. I'm gonna compensate for it, and it'll make the next part, and it'll bend it over 80 degrees, like 82 degrees, so that it springs back to 80 at the right pressure.
How long have you worked on Magnaflow?
This year is going to be 17. It's going to be the same.
That's just too extreme of an angle. That would give it a little bit can.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, it's good.
You're good.
Game plan. Take out the middle muffler, put a straight pipe in, and if we get a little bit more loud, maybe we'll get that tone back and have a good medium between a Tomei, it might be too crazy for you, and an Invidia N1. I want to make that exhaust that's right in the middle because Tomei's awesome. It's my favorite tone by far that I know of, but it's awful on the freeway and it's just obnoxious a lot of time. It's like an 80-20. I want to be obnoxious and have the Tomei 80% of the time, but 20% of the time, I just want to have something like this that's on there right now where it's chill, it's loud, but I can relax while I drive. It's so close. At this point, we are 2 full days in on development and testing of this setup. I go to my hotel and I'm driving there and I'm like, I don't know about this. I go for a long drive, I burn like half a tank of gas. I'm like, this ain't it. I'm stressed and I'm like, we just went 2 full days, all these guys helping me, and I'm not in love with it at all, and I'm just stressing. I got all these people here, we're filming this whole thing. I don't know what to do. They got the
No. The whole purpose of this is to make a better system. We're not going to get better at what we do unless we understand you guys and what you guys want. So,
best thing I can think of, let's make a comparison video. I put the N1, the Tomei, and the Magnaflow setup that we created back to back to back, one with the muffler, one without, and just listen to the tone differences and volume levels through audio recordings I have from the past. I'll give you a little taste of that. Sent this video to Richard. The quarter wave resonators were like, I can't express what a learning curve that was. You put this exhaust on and you drive it and you're like, this doesn't hit the same as the Tomei, like with the tone and the unique feel to it. It is closer than you think, and it sounds better than you think because those quarter wave resonators do way more than you realize and make it sound way different on the interior. And it's kind of, you have to retrain your brain, and I learned that the hard way and added a lot more stress that I just didn't need to because we're pretty close. 11 p.m. that night, we're texting about it. Show up the next morning. What do you think? Richard goes, we need to add a larger chamber to the center and try that to get rid of the lower frequencies, to maybe get rid of some of that lower end rumble, the real deep, because we want to have this more of a unique higher end sounding, kind of like the Tomei. The Invidia is really, really deep. The Tomei is kind of high pitched. And I want to find something in the middle so that we can get rid of drone and keep it more tame inside, but also have it crazy outside. And we got to give a little bit. And I think we can find a spot right in the middle. And that's when Richard introduced the idea of adding the larger quarter wave resonator in the middle.
We're gonna put 21 by 5 here. Right there. Make sure the gap is the same.
Magnaflow, it's slightly more tame than the Tomei. It has a great tone. It's not annoying in the car anymore. We have the quieter option as well. I am so pumped right now. Dude, it blew a flame too in the day. That was sick. Justin, we did it. Dude, I've been skeptical for 2 full days, and this day for literally, it's probably been almost 3 years of just, I know what's good, I know what to do, I don't have the resources to do it, and I need the right people, and Magnaflow came through and it looks sick. I'm actually emotional. This is like embarrassing. I've never had so many people work on something for me. I feel like gratefulness, whatever you want to call it, is just overwhelming. It's the simple things in life, like just working hard and it paying off, like, is so rewarding. And this is something that I was stressed about because so many people were working on something. I just felt like a little princess girl, like just la-di-da, you do what I want to do. And it's like, that's just not who I am. This whole team at Magnaflow to be so kind to me and offer all their resources, spend their money, put me in a hotel, all these things, like, so sick. I can't make this stuff up.
Came back and said Subaru, right? I was like, well, okay, you know, kind of threw me off for a bit, but I'm like, well, hold on. So I'm going to be giving you a part number, and you're going to hear that probably end of this year in December, the part that we developed for you on your car is now going to be available for thousands of other people to experience.
Show Magnaflow and I's appreciation for you, we're going to give away the current catback exhaust for the WRX platform away to one of you guys on October 30th. Now, to get entered into being potentially picked to get that, I want you to find this exact video on my Instagram profile, the IGTV, share it to your story, and I want you to comment a positive experience you've had from being in the car scene, car culture, car community. Maybe it's meeting your best friend at a car meet. Maybe it's getting together with your friends and you didn't think you'd be able to install this part or swap this engine or something. Tell me all your awesome experiences in the comments, and then put in parentheses at the end of your comment what year your WRX is. I'm going to look for someone with a public profile so everyone can see. And I want to see that you have a passion for cars, and it'd be very obvious, and I can't wait to read all of your stories and pick someone. If you're new here, we're all about building confidence in the garage. My name's Cameron Alford, and this is our brand on the channel, Carmaspeed. We have a website with our hats, shirts, all that new stuff coming out soon. We have the private Facebook group with the link in the description, and we have an Instagram profile for everyone in our community. And this is just an awesome, genuine community of a bunch of people who just genuinely appreciate cars and can see the positives in every single vehicle and just enjoying them for what they are and what they bring to the table. I love you guys so much for checking this video out. This is one of the best experiences of my life, and I can't thank you enough for being a part of it. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.